today. My name is Vivian. This is 30milesofcorruption.com. This is where we take on all issues of the city. And today we are going to be taking on Andy Melendrez. Please, it's time that we all vote, and we do all need to vote. My dog is walking around the house. I don't know if you can hear her, but it is getting ready. We are getting ready for Super Tuesday, which is March 3rd, I believe. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about Andy Melendrez. But first, before I get into Andy Melendrez, I want to give you the reason why everyone in our household voted for Rich Gardner. I know Andy Melendrez pretty well. I've been watching him for almost 14 years, sitting on the dais, and he has zero charisma. Zero. And he really has not done a lot. He's caused some issues that I am going to be talking about here, some pretty controversial issues, and I want to just bring that forward. And I am going to dedicate this discussion to Mr. Tom Hunt and all his cronies. Yes, Mr. Tom Hunt, I am going to dedicate this to you because I know you will not forget what I am going to be discussing. But first of all the votes in my house went to Rich Gardner because, one, I know Andy Melendrez. Two, Patricia Locke Dawson was handpicked by Rusty Bailey, and we know Rusty Bailey is just another corrupt politician. And I actually believe she is just going to follow his message, just like Rusty Bailey was like the little puppet for Ron Loveridge. Okay, that being said, the other candidates we actually took a look at, and I believed that when I saw Rich Gardner coming onto the political scene in the city of Riverside, he came onto the scene because his wife had Alzheimer's, and he felt it necessary to bring Alzheimer's and the issue of Alzheimer's more to the city and more of an awakening. And he did, and it was great. He's had, we actually went to one of the fundraisers for Alzheimer's that he's had, and he never stopped coming to City Hall. He sits there every Tuesday. He has since he started, and he has learned the political process, and that is what I believe would make a good mayor for the entire city, for the people of the city of Riverside, is somebody who is really interested enough. And I believe that's actually how we should get politicians, or from actually the public that goes there every Tuesday to learn for themselves what's going on. So, Mr. Rich Gardner, we believe that you have earned the right and you have earned our vote. And I thank you for being involved. We no longer want to go to City Hall and be involved. This is as far as we're going to get. This is our playground, and this is how we will make change, or try to make change. And so here we go. I've got to put my glasses on because I really want to take a good look at Mr. Melendrez, and let's read these things for him. He is going to solve tough problems, improve the quality of life, reduce homelessness. He is going to make City Hall work better. He is going to maintain clean and safe neighborhoods. Make city government more responsive and transparent. Everything that Andy Melendrez is saying here, he should have already have accomplished in 14 years. This is why I have a problem with Andy, is that I don't believe that he really is been effective as a council member. I do believe that a lot of the stuff and a lot of the issues and problems that we are having today is a direct result by the way Mr. Melendrez has voted on that dais for 14 years. Yep, he has raised every tax on the public. He has approved every increase in your utility bill. Andy Melendrez does not think of anybody but Andy Melendrez, the staff, and everybody that he believes will catapult him to another level in government. This is the only thing I do agree with here. He is a council member. He is a business owner. And you could say he is a community leader. Okay? Yes, I would think that a council member would be considered a community leader. He has been on the council since 2006. Thank you very much, honey. He has been on the council since 2006. It says here he has earned the reputation of a tireless and effective advocate for the residents. If he had been an advocate for the residents, my thing is that he would have created value to myself, my family, my household, my neighborhood, that he would have, I would have benefited. I have not benefited one day, Mr. Melendrez. No, my property taxes are higher, my utility bill is higher, my utility user tax is higher, everything is higher. There's more of these little nonsense fees on my utility bill, all because of you. Yes, and if he has it his way, I have talked before about his plan to make Riverside a sanctuary city. He talks about equality and medical for all and whatever it was. I mean, I could only bear listening to a little bit of the debate online, and it was just so annoying. And another thing, Andy Melendrez is the most low energy council member we have ever had. When he starts to ramble on, you think I'm bad rambling on? At least I have color, okay? At least it's funner. Like, I have funner things to say. He is so black and white. He's like this monotone. It's like monotone. It's almost like somebody, when I listen to Andy, it's like somebody scratching the blackboard like that. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't listen to this anymore. But I can't imagine if he's mayor that we'd have to listen to this. Okay, but I have something funny. Yes. So this is what I really wanted to bring forward with Mr. Melendrez. And Mr. Melendrez, I don't know if anybody really realizes this, but Mr. Melendrez has cost the city hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. Oh yes, Mr. Melendrez, besides taxing me to death. Okay, here we go. It was a while ago when they were going through redevelopment. And this is why I want to dedicate this video to Tom Hunt. And I want to take my jacket off because I made myself a shirt for this very special talk on Mr. Melendrez. So here you go. I hope you can all see this. Do you remember this, Mr. Hunt? Riverside Soccer. And I am the #1 citizen. I went to Big 5 when I knew I was going to be doing this talk on Andy Melendrez and this soccer field that he wanted so much, that I went to Big 5 and I couldn't find a soccer shirt because I was looking for a soccer shirt. So I made me one. Here you go, Riverside Soccer. If we ever do get a soccer stadium, orange is a really good color because I look good in orange. Don't I look good in orange? Of course I do. Okay, so here we go. When we started hearing rumblings about the soccer stadium, oh yes, they were salivating. Andy Melendrez couldn't wait. This was going to be his big project. He was going to do this. And as soon as we heard it, my friend, Devon Petrosello, went right up to the podium and she said, and this was a year and a half before this all started, she goes, "We don't own the land. You cannot do this." Do you think those brainiacs, Mr. Hunt, at City Hall, listen to us? No. How much money did you spend, Mr. Hunt, on getting involved in this project? That's what I want to know. Okay, so it all started with our group figuring out what they were trying to do. But this is how crazy this land deal was. And I'm going to kind of read this because this is how it went. They had to have so many auditing firms audit this property because nobody really knew who owned the property other than us. We knew. Okay, this property was owned by our water fund, which was then sold to the redevelopment agency, the general fund, and the electric fund, a portion which were subsequently given to the general fund, all financed by sewer and electric funds, and with one property sold back to the water fund. Did you get that? Let me read that again. The property was originally owned by the water fund. Then it was sold to the redevelopment agency, the general fund, and the electric fund, a portion of which were subsequently given to the general fund. Given to the general fund. All financed by sewer and electric. And with one property sold back to the water fund. Did you get that? We may have missed a transaction or two. These deals back then in redevelopment were so dirty, you wouldn't believe it. And yes, Mr. Melendrez, you were hot and heavy over this. Absolutely. You couldn't wait. Here we go. Andy Melendrez, this was his big deal. He was going to sell this to the community. He was going to be the hero. He was going to build a soccer field, and I'm sure he wanted his name on it, whatever. So here comes our trusty city manager now, Mr. Zelinka. Okay, Mr. Zelinka informs me, oh yes, I sat down with Mr. Zelinka about this project, right? He comes to the city of Riverside and he starts planning this enormous, beautiful soccer stadium. It had all the bells and whistles. It was going to be the project of the century for the city of Riverside. And every time it came up on the dais, my friend Devon Petrosello would walk up there, say, "You can't do it. We don't own the land." Yep, but again, nobody paid any attention to us. So what happened was, is that all these people, all these architects, developers, business people started designing this plan with Zelinka, the planning department. The whole city was buzzing about this for a year and a half. I believe a whole department of planning, if not a department and a half, had spent the entire year and a half, the entire budget for that entire planning department was spent putting this soccer field together. Yes, Andy Melendrez was flying to Mexico to meet with the soccer team, and it was insane what they were doing. Oh yes, He was selling this big time. By the time they were done, there were two teams. They had two teams of developers. A team with Mr. Hunt and a team with somebody else. Let's see who they were. I've got the teams right here. Let's set the stage. The city has selected two main development teams to bid for this project. They were salivating. These two teams were going to make it big. This was going to be, again, the biggest thing in Riverside. The council is ready to hear the proposals from both these teams. The council chamber is filled. It was in the afternoon. Of course, we were all there. The developers, the architects, the contractors, the money men, and probably a couple scoundrels. Oh yes, and let me tell you, they were in very expensive suits to give their proposal. And sure enough, there was my friend Yvonne Petrosello going up to this front speaker and saying, "You can't do this. We do not own the land." And do you think Zelinka would listen to us? No. Do you think any of these developers that invested all their money in planning and designing this architecture and all this bullshit, do you think anybody listened to us? No. No. Every one of them, of these developers, were dressed in their Sunday best. The big names in Riverside Elite were there. Yeager, Tavaglione, Rubin, Singletary, old man Hunt, already willing and able to cash in on the taxpayer. Oh yeah, they were going to come in and they were going to cash in on you big time. As in this PE article on the soccer complex back in 2012, we had repeatedly advised the council and the city that this deal could not happen. No way. No way. And you know what? Mr. Melendrez, we were right. Not only did the cities probably spend millions in a whole year and a half planning, paying all these salaries, wasting everybody's time for a year and a half, not to mention all these Riverside Elite, and I can assure you these Riverside Elite people will not be voting for you for mayor. No way, no how. And I know for sure Mr. Hunt probably isn't going to be voting for you. I saw his name anyway on Patricia Locke Dawson's support bull crap, whatever. Okay, so then everything fell apart right before their eyes. We were right. They were all wrong. Yes, Mr. Melendrez. Mr. Melendrez, this was going to be his big debut. This is what he was going to mark his legacy on, was this soccer stadium. But instead, Mr. Melendrez wasted years of taxpayer money, millions of dollars, millions on probably all these developers and what they had to put out, really. Okay, so what does the city do? They don't take our word for it. They don't even look at our reporting. They don't even know. No, because they don't want to hear that we are right. 30 miles of corruption will go down as being correct. If anybody goes back in history and wants to figure out what the hell happened here, all they have to do is go look at 30 miles of corruption. Here you go. We were right. You want to know why they have no money? Because this is the kind of bullshit that Andy Melendrez put them through. Yes, we were right. They were wrong. Everyone in those chambers that day were all blindsided. When they found out no deal could be made. None, nada, no way, no how, The land at that point was not owned by the city of Riverside. It was all tied up in the dissolution of redevelopment, and everyone in that chamber that day was pissed. Yes, you couldn't have been more upset than all these people. Okay, so what does the city do? Okay, how does the city make up to all these people? Oh, what do? They hire an auditor to figure this thing out. Well, they didn't need to hire an auditor because we were right. We were right. We had studied that land, or my friend had studied that land to follow that money and how that whole dirty deal was started. Yes, that was one of the first deals that was done when they started redevelopment. It was the most disgusting issue ever. And what was really interesting, about a year after this whole incident happened with Andy Melendrez, this whole debacle, this whole, huge cost to the taxpayer, putting everybody behind a year and a half, everybody, not only the city, but all these developers taking their time, taking their energy, effort. I guess they probably deserved it. Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. So whatever. But when all this happened, it was about a year and a half, maybe a year or two later, that I actually was in City Hall, and I had sat down with Zelinka, and we talked about this. And he said he felt as if he were sucker punched. Yes. He couldn't believe that all the work that they had went through in a year and a half was null and void. It was wasted. Yep. That's what they do here at City Hall. They waste all the tax dollars on their cockamamie schemes. And then they come back and they want to put in their little brochures that they're going to improve everything, right? They're going to improve everything because now they're going to make it all better. Making City Hall work better. City Hall would have worked a lot better if they would have listened to us. Yep. Us. If any of Mr. Tom Hunt, I'm going to talk to you directly. Mr. Tom Hunt, if you would have listened to us, you wouldn't have got caught up in that cockamamie scheme. But you didn't care because you were just one of those developer elites that wanted to feed off the taxpayer. It's what I call pond scum. Yep. But anyhow, that is my rant for today. Mr. Tom Hunt, I know I will see you someday, somehow, somewhere, and I'm sure maybe we'll have this discussion. But anyhow, I want everybody to know, if we ever do get a soccer stadium, and if Andy Melendrez is ever mayor, I will be the #1 fan, just like I am the #1 citizen, because I don't think there's anybody who works as hard as I do in exposing what goes on here at City Hall. Oh yeah. Okay, thank you very much. I will talk to you later. Bye, and please go vote on Tuesday. See you soon. Not only we've already mailed in our vote. Rich Gardner, you have our vote. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.